Okay, so the footbeds are moulded, or sorry, heated. That's all this system does, heats it, laminates the layers together. You want it nice and bendy and flexible. So give it a little bit of a bend, plant it in there. It's not critical to have too much around the back edge of the heel, the sides, particularly the medial side is the important bit. And what we're aiming to do is either side of the cup of the heel, directly across there, should be pretty much level. So you've got a cup that holds everything nice and solid on both sides. So we're getting quite a lot of crease in here. This lateral side you can kind of spread out a little bit just to allow you to get the footbed in a bit more easily. Get down all these little creases that are coming up. If the footbed has been heated up enough, that shouldn't be too much of a need. Well, you get the odd crease, but it's pretty minimal. Notice what I've done on the side here. So that's the first metatarsal head. This side is not going to be touched, so we need to make sure that it's nice and snug, but that the rider's first metatarsal head is fully on it, but at the same time the footbed doesn't creep up around that side to any great extent. Again, get them creases down. You need to do this just for a short while until it loses enough heat. And then critically, this area here, so this is your sort of business end of things, the rear part of the arch. There's a little bony ledge on the inside, on the medial side of the calcaneus bone, that will, and we're aiming to place an obstruction underneath that, just to stop the heel tilting inwards and forwards, i.e. just to stop the foot pronating. And make sure all these are done. Okay, so we're pretty level across the back there. I mean, it's not the same shape on either side, of course, because it's feet are not symmetrical. Okay, something else that's often worth doing with a rider is you've got your longitudinal arch, but there's also the transverse arch, which is much more subtle. A certain amount of lift on that will often help prevent riders getting nerve impingement. It just spreads out the metatarsal bone slightly, so it can be worth just going underneath there, lifting it up, just trying to stay with the natural shape that you've already got, just exaggerating it a little bit. Bit stubborn on the creases there. Okay. So again, same operation with the left one. Get it in the back. So this is the trick here, is to kind of press it down so that you end up with an even height on either side. Sometimes you'll end up with like, oh no, that's obviously not right, or the other way. You need to pull it out and start again there. And then once I'm sure that that's coming down nice and level, I'll get the first metatarsal, or get the footbed in place relative to the first metatarsal head. So, you know, I'm not going for this. I'm going for something more like this. And again, get rid of that lateral side. That's not really very useful. Get rid of. You often get creases in the heel. They rarely cause a problem for people, but you know, make it look nice and neat anyway. This is the area where you tend to get the most creases. You know, and I'm changing the shape a little bit, you know, pressing down, getting a bit of a flatter surface here. Again, that little area there, make sure there's a little, you know, it needs to be slightly pronounced, so that when the rider's standing in them at least, that's where they feel it most of all, the rear part of the arch, not the middle part. and not really even so much this metatarsal bump I was referring to a minute ago. Once they're on the bike, they don't generally notice them at all. So again, a little bit of a lift there. You know, try and avoid any kind of abrupt, like steps. Everything should be nice and curved as best you can. Again, good height across there. Okay, and then we leave those there for about 20 minutes, half an hour normally does it. There will be a little bit of reheating after that. We'll deal with that next.